Alright, this is a wretched mini-series called Son of Mer. It spins out of a bad crossover and it stars the Flash, who has lost his muty powers. The best way to describe this 6-issue mini-series is as a character assassination. This story makes the Flash so irredeemable that the only course of action was for other writers to downplay or ignore what happens here. This book is written by David Hine Pierce, and he had about 15 minutes of fame, and all the comics I have read of his have been nout but character destruction. I am very happy we didn't see his name on many comics these days. The Flash is one of my favourite Marvel characters. He is a great one, but for some reason writers, usually crap writers, they keep wanting to make him evil. And this issue, the art is alright. And in this one, we didn't have anything egregious with the Flash. But this still goes out of its way to eviscerate another Marvel character. Without his super speed powers, the Flash, he is living a miserable life in slow motion. This stuff is fine, arguably even good. It is bringing the Flash character unbelievably low, but at least it makes sense. Unlike this character here. This is a lesser known Marvel character called Spider-Man, and this issue gets everything about Spider-Man wrong, and it breaks the character with such purpose that it is hard to not just tear this up whenever I see Spider-Man. Right, the backstory is Michael Brian Benson. He did a shit story, like he always does, and in that story he had Spider-Man happily married to Emma Stone's. This is because the current generation of Marvel writers and editors, they are bonehead idiots, and they refuse to let any Spider-Man comics released after 1972 count. So Benson, he posited that Spider-Man, he would be happier off with Emma Stone's. This has long been the agenda of the Jose Quesada regime. They romanticise and are obsessed with Emma Stone's. They think she is Spider-Man's true love because she was Spider-Man's true love the last time that they actually read Spider-Man comics. And then we get to this issue where Spider-Man, after this awful Benson story, he is ganning around and crying and thinking about how he isn't happy with his actual wife, Mary James. He realises that he doesn't really love her because he has all these great new memories of this other life where he was with Emma Stone's. In fact, let's just read this bullshit here. I am sorry, Mary James. I do not think you would understand. For you, the world is as it always was, but to me, it will never be the same. For a while, I had everything I ever wanted from life. I had the woman I wanted. And it was not you. That pause there was like the most honest thing you have ever seen in my videos. I was internally fighting back the desire to rip this up. The only reason I'm not tearing this up right now is because I want to point out another enormous dump that it takes on Spider-Man's character near the end. Also, the fucking arrogance that this piece of shit writer thinks that in his Flash miniseries, he's gonna write this disgusting Spider-Man character arc. God, I really hate this series, and we're not even looking at the bits where the Flash kidnaps and abuses his daughter. The Flash, he sees a mutie boy being harassed and assaulted in the street, and this is the first appearance of Johnny D. And I was going to say how this is his first appearance and how that is notable. But then I remembered that the only reason Johnny D is notable is because I read his Andy book profile that fools you into thinking that he is a bigger deal than he is. He basically has this monster growing on his tummy. And to be honest, the monster on his tummy is doing a good enough job of dealing with these bigoted comic gatesers who are hassling him. But then, of course, the Flash, he stands up for him and tells them to leave him alone. But the Flash, he doesn't have his mutie powers, so instead he gets beat up by the comic gatesers. And then Spider-Man shows up to be written terribly some more. The art is decent. That is the sad thing. This could easily have been a good miniseries exploring the depths that the Flash sinks to when he loses his powers. But it does so in a manner that damages his character forever. And any artistic worth in this as a story, it should, in my opinion, be questioned, as this writer approached every book and character with this exact same malicious, harmful approach. You're seeing that in this issue with Spider-Man. And this here is where we get the writer David Hine Pierce. He's already hurt Spider-Man's relationship, and now he goes to task in trying to shatter Spider-Man as a hero. Spider-Man, he starts taking out all his frustrations on the Flash, because the Flash, he was the one behind that awful Benson story. Spider-Man, he displays absolutely none of his trademark compassion or empathy, and the Flash's involvement with that story, it should be irrelevant. Spider-Man is above having a irrational hatred like this. And I've got to make it through this next bit without angrily pulling this comic apart. Spider-Man, he is whining on about how he was happier with Emma Stone's. And the Flash, who over the last 3 pages, he has clearly said multiple times that he is on the brink and he is suicidal. Well, Spider-Man, he has this whole long rant about how shitty the Flash is for showing him that he doesn't love his wife. The Flash, he has been apologetic and seems legitimately mournful for all the pain that he's caused. Spider-Man, though, he's just a petty little bully, and he says that the Flash is a waste of space. The Flash, again, he has clearly, definitely on this page here, and then on these 2, made it clear that he is emotionally low and feels suicidal. Then the Flash, he asks Spider-Man, "Can you think of a single reason why I should go on living?" And Spider-Man goes, "No, truthfully, I cannot." And the Flash jumps off the building to his death because Spider-Man just pushed a man to suicide, because this writer is a piece of shit. That's what this comic is doing. It's making Spider-Man encourage a character's suicide attempt. The Flash, he is fine because his ex-wife Iris, she shows up, and Spider-Man isn't in the book anymore, which would be a good thing, but then the writer keeps treating the other characters as badly as he has treated Spider-Man in this part. Fuck this bad-natured dross. Normally, I try to conclude when I am tearing things up, but there's no need to conclude anything here. This comic and this writer have nothing but apathy towards everything and everyone he writes. I hate this comic. I viscerally disagree with everything it said about Spider-Man, everything it did with Spider-Man, and everything David Hine Pierce thinks of Spider-Man. Why is Spider-Man being involved in this story anyway? It's fucking arrogance. I hate this. I hate this venomous take on Spider-Man. I think this is an example of what I hate most in comics. Shite like this. That's why I am controversially gonna give Son of Mer a 7 thumbs up.